What up, what up, what up, YouTube Live? How's it going, everybody? Um, this is yours truly, Rama Screen. Um, I just watched the latest episode of one of my favorite shows, Cloak and Dagger. So thank you, Marvel Television, and thank you, Freeform, for granting me the screener. And I want to give you my live review of this episode right now, this morning, Thursday morning, May 9th, um, before the show airs tonight. The show airs tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time on Freeform. The reason again is because Thursday nights usually I have screenings. Tonight I have John Wick 3 screenings. So John Wick 3 screening. This is the only time I can give you my review of this episode. So heads up, there'll be heads up. There will be some spoilers in this review. So I'll be giving you the synopsis describing what happens in this episode and the context. So yeah, heads up, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Okay. So last week's episode was I told you that was probably my favorite of this whole season too. It's where Tandy is tied up inside the ambulance, and Andre Duchesne, the big bad guy, was messing with her head. And the way apparently that is illustrated in the show, whenever Andre needs to mess with people's heads, he would play vinyl records of their memories, and he and the way he would try to make them feel hopeless, or like there's no reason to fight for anymore. That's how he disarms them. So by the end of last week's episode, Tandy was under the impression that Andre has killed Tyrone. So in this episode, we see what happens now. It's not Dreamscape episode. There is one sequence inside the record store again, but it's not like the whole episode is about it. So Tandy is in this motel room, and she's with the other girls in this human trafficking business, if you will. And apparently, this motel is a secret operation for brothel, basically. So grown men can come and pay for sex with these girls. Many of them, So you get what I'm saying. I feel nauseous just like trying to be so detailed about it. So that's the purpose, okay, of this motel. And she encounters this girl, whom Leah obviously has brainwashed into thinking like, oh, your family doesn't care about you anymore. And that girl is played by one of my favorite actresses, Bianca Santos. I've interviewed her a couple of times. You can watch one of my video interviews with Bianca Santos in the link in the description box below this video. What's interesting is that Bianca Santos was at one point a star, or she starred in a faith-based movie, Christian-based movie about human trafficking. I kid you not, I forgot what the title was, but she starred in a faith-based film about human trafficking a few years ago. I think one of the co-stars was David Koechner, the guy from Anchorman. So to see her again in this episode, in this story about human trafficking, is interesting to say the least. I should probably, like, I don't know, tweet tag her like, oh, I saw Bianca Santos in tonight's new episode of Cloak and Dagger. But anyway, back to the plot. For Tyrone, where's Tyrone right now? Tyrone is on the hunt for or looking for Tandy, and Tyrone in this process encounters Andre in the that facility, the support group facility. And of course, Tyrone doesn't have any knowledge of Andre yet. But when Tyrone shakes the hand of Andre for one brief moment, that's when Andre gets into his head, Tyrone's head, and then he messes with Tyrone's head really quickly into thinking that, oh, you know what, Tandy probably already left town or skipped town. Like, Tandy doesn't care about you anymore. And so Andre plays this record, and the record on labeled on top of the record says Tandy doesn't care about you anymore. I'm like, oh, that is so specific. By the way, this episode is written and directed by the showrunner, Joe Pokaski, whom I also interviewed at WonderCon, this past WonderCon. So I'll also provide the link to that video in the description box below this one. Okay, so you can watch that as well. So that part was funny to me because the other vinyl records, they usually have that, the cool artwork, and the artwork for each of the vinyl usually would try to capture the scenes or images of those memories. Like, for example, one of the vinyls for Tandy has like four, I guess, images of her when she was a kid, and she was drowning in that car. Remember that, when in the back seat of the car of her dad. So, but for this one, it just says on the label says Tandy doesn't care about you anymore. So Tyrone goes around town like thinking like, wow, man, maybe she did skip town. But guess who's still stuck in that vinyl record place? Mayhem. Mayhem is still there with her green nails, remember? Because that's one of her powers. She can uh, slash people, slit people with her nails. So she's still there. And at one point, Andre also speaks with the psychic. I forgot her name. Let me get the name here. I don't want to just call her psychic. I think her name is uh I used to have it on my head. She's the Evita's. She's related to Evita here. Auntie Chantel. There you go, Auntie Chantel. So Andre gets into Auntie Chantel's head because Andre has this question about this Feve, the sign thing, and it all one leads to the next, and mayhem eventually. Without, I don't want to spoil you the major plot point at the end, but uh, mayhem takes over the vinyl record at one point, and it leads to this pretty cool action sequence where Tyrone finds the hotel and pretty much busts his way in and punches his way in, like punches the bodyguards of Andre, and Tandy gets her power back again, and she breaks out. She breaks out and she tries to rescue the other girls. So that's basically the context of the synopsis or what happens in this episode. There's a few details that I leave out so as to not spoil the fun for you guys. So you need to watch the episode for yourself tonight. Um, but here are some of my thoughts, though. Aside from the vinyl records thing I already mentioned to you, uh, I I love how in this episode, for one, number one, uh, the music or the song selections, because that's one of the characteristics of this show. There's always long song selections accompanying each scene or every other scene. In this one, the song selection gets cut off like halfway. Uh, Not even halfway. Sometimes even like maybe a few minutes or a few seconds into the song, it gets cut off and then another thing happens, and I find that to be interesting. And you'll find that happening recurrently. Like, whoa, I was trying to, I was in the middle of getting into that song. I was like, yeah, I was digging it, and then oh man, what happened? So that's one thing I noticed. The other thing is this interactions between Bianca Santos's character and Olivia Holt's character Tandy. whereas Bianca Santos's character is under the impression that like, hey, this is good here, you know, and 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 Leah says like, oh, nobody's being held against their will. They can leave if they want to. And yet, when Tandy tries to leave, she gets held up by one of the bodyguards. So obviously, in that sense, Leah is a hypocrite. They are being held against their will. Um, but the difference is between Tandy and Bianca Santos's character. Bianca Santos's character is, um, or she feels that her family doesn't care about her. Nobody cares about her. So she has been disarmed by Andre even more so than Tandy. Tandy has still Tandy still has this fighting spirit. See, the thing is with brainwashing or um, making somebody bow down to not bow down. I guess you could say fall in line to your will. The best way to do that is, and I'm not a psychologist, but I'm just saying that this is based on my observation, is that best way to do that is to tell them like, hey, you're worthless, you have no purpose, you're nothing without me. I'm the only one. I alone can save you. Like your family doesn't care about you. See, so that's how cult leaders get their followers. In this case, of course, Andre. Um, so, but Tandy's not like that. Tandy, at one point, especially that she lost her power at the beginning of this episode, but she never actually gets to the point where like, oh my god, this is it. I guess I'm just gonna be stuck here in this motel doing services for men. No, she never actually gets to that point. She actually, has this spirit inside her, like that I need to kick back or fight back. Um, so that's cool, right? Now, I forgot to give you one other context that happens in this episode. So the other plot or that's going on while that whole thing happens in the motel and with Tyrone, um, Adina, Tyrone's mom, has a conversation with Connors. So Connor's tied up to his chair, and Adina is cooking crab cake, and that's her way of getting information out of Connors. And I love this scene. I love this scene. I wish that the episode explores it further, or I wish I wish the episode would spend more time with it. I feel like it's not enough compared to the whole Tyrone and Tandy in the motel thing. But man, I love Adina in this one. Adina is so intimidating. Like at one point, she says to Connors, we'll decide. I'm paraphrasing, of course. We'll decide whether you are genuine in your desire to help my son. And I will decide if that we'll decide whether or not that is stronger than my desire to end you or to kill you, something along that line. And man, she gives him the stare, and like, wow, that's like a mama bear pissed off because he killed her son, man. He killed her old son Billy. So uh and yeah, she gets information out of him. I'm not gonna tell you what that information is. You're gonna have to see it in tonight's episode. But man, Adina, the actress, Gloria Rubin, fantastic actress, man. She really, you can feel the mama bear's pain and ache and anguish, as she even like tries to intimidate Connors, but you could still see her pain, man. It's just fantastic, fantastic performance by Gloria Rubin. Um, so yeah, so the ball is rolling now. It's no longer about question about whether or not Tandy and Tyrone can be a team. It's heading towards. I think this season is heading towards the direction of, okay, now it's clear who the bad guy is, Andre. Um, you know, by the end of today's episode, Tandy busts out of the motel with the help of Tyrone. Um, so what's next? What's next? How are they going to take down Andre? Now that's the $1 million question. Um, and how does Bridget slash Mayhem fit into all this? Because again, Mayhem may have murderous instincts, obviously. But as far as where she is on this fight, on this battle, she's on pretty much Tyrone and Tandy's side against human traffickers, against Andre. Um, but so we'll see. We'll see how that fits into the picture. Oh man, I love this episode. I love this show so much. What else? What else? Do I have some more notes? I think that's it. I think that's it. I don't want to. If I say more, then you're gonna be like, "Oh, Rama." I, I wish I didn't know that, so I could enjoy the fun for myself. Fine, 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 fine. So, overall, it's another exciting, excellent episode of Cloak and Dagger. I'm glad the story is now moving forward to I think finals. I think there's only like 10 episodes this season, right? Let me double check here. I may be wrong, but right now it's episode 7. So okay, yeah. So after tonight, there are only 3 episodes left till the season finale. So that's why it's no longer about existential self introspective journey. It's gonna be like the ball's gonna get rolling. Like, okay, how do we take him down? How do we take him down? How do we take him down? So it's gonna be really, really awesome to find out how that plays out. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in on this live review of Marvel Cloak and Dagger season 2, episode 7, titled Vikingtown Sound. Ah, so great, so great. I can't wait for you to watch it too tonight, 8 p.m. freeform. So once you've seen it, come back to this video again and let me know whether or not you agree with my assessment. And share your thoughts about tonight's episode in the comment section below. As always, subscribe, press that like button, ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.